So in honor of the goated series, House of the Dragon, and yes, Team Black all the way, that's Rhaenyra's throne, get Aegon II out of here, I'm deciding to do a video. Now you might say this may belong in the survival series, and yes, I will be putting it there as well. But in all honesty, I've been meaning to do some more, I guess you could say, dragon or more animalistic like content. And the dragons from House of the Dragon or the Game of Thrones verse just fits that very well. So today we're going to be taking the second biggest dragon alive, possibly third if we actually get a good estimate on the cannibal this season. But yeah, we're going to be taking Vhagar, and we're going to see if she can actually thrive on Skull Island. Not the Monsterverse version, by the way. This is the Peter Jackson Skull Island. So without further ado, let's begin, and I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. So one of the few things we're going to really talk about is that Vhagar is pretty old. She's not sluggish, or at least not too sluggish in any way here, as she's still a war battle dragon. One of the first, well, not one of the first three, but one of the original three to conquer Westeros, meaning she has some years on her, and has had plenty of riders over the years here. Now, another thing about Vhagar is that she and her other siblings, Meraxes and Balerion, have gotten to a size where they're considered absolute gods on the battlefield when it comes to other dragons here. Vhagar's size allows her to swallow things whole and to breathe a massive amount of fire. However, due to her size, if she does not have like a reliable perch or means of actually getting off the ground in time, she will run, build up that speed, and then eventually fly. So without further ado, let's begin here. Let's talk about the fauna of Skull Island. And in all honesty, most of these guys are around the large, or basically the base tier of building level, while some of them are like wall level in nature. So again, they don't scale too high, but they really don't scale to Vhagar, so she easily has that advantage because she's known to burn down entire kingdoms even excuse me, even consisting of castles, which would consist of multiple city block like structures. Yeah, this will put Vhagar at multi-city block, or at least low town level. So without further ado, let's begin here, and the rules are pretty simple. Skull Island is going to be at its peak here, and we're going to say that the Kong species is also flourishing here. Basically, no disease, and the war with the V-Rexes is still going on, but it's not as bad as it was, considering they are one of the few reasons why they went extinct. So let's talk about the first few things we normally talk about here when it comes to animalistic creatures: food, water, and shelter. Now, shelter shouldn't be too hard for Vhagar here. I mean, she's the biggest thing on the island, and she could bully anything out of its territory, even the Kongs. So I do think she would definitely take to Skull Island's mountains and get more of the greenery pastures there, just for her. Maybe even sleeping near a riverbed or a waterfall. I don't know. Depending on what Vhagar feels like, she should be able to find a nice resting place here. And believe it or not, with her being now the top dog on the island, the queen of the island essentially, she really has nothing to fear. I mean, she doesn't have a mate to get her pregnant, so she can't have a clutch of eggs she needs to hide. She can just relax and enjoy a nice and very simple life. However, one of the few problems, and I don't even think House of Dragon actually addressed this, is the amount of food that Vhagar needs in order to sustain herself. Now, it's very possible that her stomach and digestive system have slowed over the years here, but considering the fact that dragons still have fire in their gullets, it's very possible that they can actually burn through a lot of calories as they fight and stuff there. Meaning that, well, dragons may actually have a very interesting metabolism. I'm not saying they're ravenous in nature, but they can go through calories pretty easily. So they may need a sustainable amount of food, kind of like how T-Rexes are apparently able to eat 400 or possibly even 4,000 pounds of meat. Not sure what the real estimation of that was here, but I remember it was either 400 or 4,000. Let me know down below. And in the Game of Thrones verse, there are mammoths, whales, and even leviathans, believe it or not, in the books here. But I'm going to have to look into the size to wonder if Vhagar could actually eat one. So prepare for an update on that one in the community post section. But judging by Vhagar's size and the sheer fact that some dragons are known to gorge themselves on sheeps and goats and whatever they want, unless it's the cannibal who just eats other dragons, then that means Vhagar might need at least 3 or maybe even 2 farms worth of livestock. So count everything in there, count their max population, everything, and then boom, just have at it, right? Now, the creatures of Skull Island may actually provide pretty much a banquet for us, what I'm trying to say here. The creatures of Skull Island definitely provide a banquet here, such as the Skull Island's Brontosaurus. These Brontosaurus are known to give live birth here instead of laying a clutch of eggs like their original ancestors. However, they're definitely going to provide a meal. I'm pretty sure Vhagar might need at least 2, maybe 3, just to say she's satisfied with it. But again, I don't think it's too much. Legocristis and Vistatosaurus rex are all creatures. Pretty much every creature on the island in general could suffice as a worthwhile meal, unless it's only like bite size, you know? For example, again, the Legocristis. The Legocristis definitely is like a herd's worth of food for Vhagar here, consuming the adults, the young, everything. She would need a ton of these Legocristis just for her to actually be satisfied with it. Now, Ferucatus herds and what is the other one? Silver Ceratops, all right, would also provide bountiful meals here. Ferucatus might actually be able to satisfy Vhagar at least a little bit here, and would actually maybe in the same ways that the Brontosaurus would here. So with that being said here, let's move on to probably one of the few creatures that are impacted by Vhagar's presence on the island, and that would be Megaprimatus Kong. Yes, these Kong species would be a prey item for Vhagar here, and the problem with that is that they also dwell within the mountains, meaning they may become a common food source for Vhagar. So they may have to change their habits and move into the more jungle-like lowland areas just to try to avoid Vhagar, at least for a decent amount of time, until she goes to sleep. So with that being said here, Vhagar having every option under the sun, every, item on her grocery list here, she could pretty much just go on a full shopping spree, eat every creature, any creature she wants here, and she could actually be satisfied. Now, how often do I think Vhagar would go out and eat these creatures, right? Or pretty much go out and hunt, is what I'm trying to say here. Now, in all honesty, I wouldn't know. I really don't. Dragons, if we do say they operate like animals, then Vhagar, after eating possibly a good plethora of the Brontosauruses, she wouldn't need anything to eat for quite a while, in all honesty. Which does mean that if she doesn't get her Brontosauruses, then that island's gonna be filled with just blood splatters everywhere until Vhagar can get enough protein or enough calories to actually satisfy herself. So again, I'm not saying they're gonna give themselves up, but it is very possible that Vhagar would definitely take to eating every other creature on the island if she can't get those Brontosauruses right away. Now, let's talk about the natives on the island. How would they view Vhagar? And in all honesty, I think they would be more afraid of her than Kong. You see, Kong was seen as a god to them. They feared Kong very well here, as he was the last of his species. And they made sacrifices to Kong very frequently. Vhagar, on the other hand, would possibly be the absolute nightmare of the island. Do I think they would make sacrifices to her? Yes. In exchange for what? Well, I guess not burning down their village. Vhagar is old, but again, she's not dumb. Okay? The dragons in Game of Thrones actually do understand when humans and other intelligent life forms are being compassionate with each other. It's the reason why Targaryens can form a bond with certain dragons while others cannot. They're able to feel the bond. However, there are people or are beings in the Game of Thrones verse They have come close to riding dragons and they don't burn them, yet the dragons are capable of understanding them. Quote, when Tyrion actually freed Vhagar and Viserion from underneath the pyramid. Because, dear God, they couldn't let that boy go. Now, imagine if Anne sacrificed, right? And then they summon Vhagar here. Anne's dead. Like, automatically. There is no rescue mission. They're going to see her just get, boom, just clamped on, and then it's over. Now, do I think that they might make the foolish decision to try and hunt down Vhagar? Yes. Yes, I do. I do think they would definitely make the foolish decision to try and capture Vhagar. And believe it or not, I could see a lot of people dying because of this here. Because it's a giant dragon. Like, what do you expect to happen? Now, you might say who would orchestrate this, and obviously it would be Jack Black's character. And I actually could see a little journey to where, what's it called? I think Jack or whatever it is. Jack, I almost say Jack Doherty. Jack, someone, I'm just going to call him Jack here, is actually on a more of a revenge quest to avenge Anne rather than trying to capture the creature. Now, the best way I could definitely see this is if they put that little bit of, I guess those knockout gas containers and then just dump the liquid into Vhagar's lake or whatever. And then using that opportunity, Vhagar drinks that much water, and she'll probably need a lot of it as well here. She drinks the water and begins to pass out. This means now they probably have to drag her back to the ship, which I don't even think that would be a easy opportunity. So it's very possible they might lure Vhagar back to the village with another sacrifice and then orchestrate a way to basically get her from there. Now, what happens if she hits New York City? Well, that's I think it's GG's at that point. City blocks are being burned. People are being, scorched and burned alive here. I mean, there's so many things you could just picture going wrong with them being bringing, Vhagar over than 2005 Kong. Like, you can't tell me there isn't a drastic level of consequences to the actions here. Like, you're bringing a whole war battle, a war veteran dragon to New York City to be some entertainment. It's very possible that Vhagar will have like some sort of like makeshift rope around her mouth so that she doesn't burn them. But again, I want you guys to think about something real quick here. What intelligent decision would this be? But oh wait, y'all might say, well then the military might have her, right? No, they wouldn't. You see, the problem here is that Vhagar is actually more powerful than a lot of militaristic weaponry during that time period. Now, you might say a tank might do the job here. Probably not, but it might. Maybe it could have worked to the same effect as a scorpion arrow and stuff here. But in all honesty, it would be just like Balerion when he burns down entire kingdoms. So it's not fair at all here. Vhagar would likely fly over, dive bomb, and then just start breathing fire against every and all military personnel there. There would be nothing to stop her. She doesn't have any other dragons, and in all honesty, they could have left her alone. Now you might say, what about the planes, right? Well, the planes there are courtesy F-8C Helldivers, which have I think the speed for it, and I'm about to put them up here. The speed for it is only 220 miles per hour, where at sea level, I think this actually goes up to around, that is the max speed, never mind, excuse me, it is above sea level. So, with that being said here, that's very lame for the planes of that time period. Now, again, yeah, I know we come a long way now, but comparing it to Vhagar and even the dragons from the Game of Thrones franchise, I don't see any reason as to why Vhagar wouldn't just flat out outspeed or just start ambushing these planes if she takes off into the clouds. Now, the reason why is because we have to scale off of other dragons she's been able to react to and catch, such as Vhagar, oh sorry, not Vhagar, Caraxes and Melis. And even Arax, who should be faster than them as well due to his small size and stature. Now, what makes this important here is that in Game of Thrones, there actually is a script, or at least a part that was cut out of the script, where it was actually stated that Viserion was able to cross, I think, into the more Westeros-like areas. Well, not the King's Landing areas, but at least the area that... Wait, no, it wasn't even that. Oh, gosh. It was actually the fact that Drogon and his brothers managed to go from their kingdom to the other side of the wall and help Jon Snow in little less than, like, what, 30 minutes? Maybe even, like, seconds? Possibly even 10 seconds? And what's funny about this here, there actually are calcs for this, which put those dragons around hypersonic. And Melis and Caraxes would easily scale to Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion, respectively. And the funny thing is, Vhagar just has to either nip one of the planes and they go down, or just start breathing fire. So in conclusion, what if Vhagar, could Vhagar survive 2005 Skull Island? And could she survive the events of it? Yes. All of those, yes. Now, the dramatic consequences of it is that the world is now dealing with a giant, pissed off, and now angry and hungry war dragon. But that's going to be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe, and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I'll see you guys later for the next video. Peace.